Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back. So at the end of February I turned 26, so I am now officially in my mid to late 20s, and in a lot of ways I feel like I wasted my early 20s. Last year when I turned 25 I did a video called 25 things I wish I'd known before turning 25. A lot of you guys loved that video, so I thought today I could do 26 lessons I learned the hard way, 26 lessons that had I've implemented into my life a lot sooner than I did, it would have made things a hell of a lot easier for me. And I'm hoping that by sharing these 26 lessons with you guys that maybe one or two of you might learn from me, because some things are best learned from example and not experience. We do not have to go through everything to learn it, you know. Now none of these are in any particular order, but we're just going to dive right on in. So our first one is to take in the moment before it turns into a memory. My Roman Empire in this lifetime is nostalgia. Nostalgia consumes me. This goes back to me being as young as I can remember, and it has followed me my whole life. I remember being a little girl coming down on Christmas morning, whether we were going away on a little holiday. As soon as I would come down Christmas morning or we'd arrive at our destination, I'd instantly be sad at the thought of it being over. I'd already be so aware of the moment turning into a memory while I was still in the moment. I feel like I've lived so much of my life this way, and I've let so many beautiful moments pass me by not being fully present and being so sad about the moment passing, when the moment is going to pass regardless of if you're fully present and you grab it and you enjoy it, or you don't and you spend that whole time thinking about it being over. Regardless, it's going to come and it's going to go, you know. Moments are fleeting. We do not get the same moment twice, you know. So when you are in a moment, grab it, enjoy it, appreciate the beauty in the moment while it's there, because we're never going to get the same moment twice, you know. Every moment is temporary. The only moment we have is the one right now. It's going to come and going to go regardless, so just appreciate it while you have it. Which leads us into number 2. You'll never regret moving your body. When you feel like the world is ending, put in your headphones, put on your favorite songs, put on your favorite podcast, go for a walk, get in the gym, move your body for 30 to 60 minutes. You know, exercise was given to us as a natural antidepressant. Get your blood flowing, get them endorphins flowing. And a lot of the time after you've done that 30 to 60 minute walk, workout, you realise the world isn't ending after all, you know. Implement it into your routine. It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. You will never regret it. And this is where I would like to thank Fabletics, my all-time favourite activewear brand, for sponsoring today's video. You can currently get up to 80% off absolutely everything on site, along with any 2 trousers for £24, and you can mix and match your trousers. You can get a pair of leggings and a tracksuit bottom, a cycling short and a legging, whatever you want. You're also able to use the 2 deals together, which a lot of brands do not allow you to do, so you can save a small fortune. One of my favourite collections that Fabletics do is their seamless collection, because I am a creature of comfort. I just love to be comfortable, and their seamless collection is literally like a second skin. It feels like you've got nothing on. They just sit on your body so comfortably. So they've brought out these new seamless rib cycling shorts along with the matching seamless sports bra. A black set is just so classic. You cannot go wrong with a black set. It's quite hard to see the ribs on the black set on camera, but you can see in this grey set what I mean by they're ribbed, and they're just so comfortable. Like, I cannot rave about their seamless sets enough if you're somebody who likes comfort. We also have this ribbed jumpsuit, again in black. Anything in black is just extremely flattering. It just doesn't fail any of us, I feel. I've never seen somebody who does not look good in an all black fit, and even including me, and I am as pale as they goddamn come. I am such a firm believer in that your clothes need to fit you, and that's something that I love about Fabletics, is they have such an inclusive size range from extra small to 4X, so you can get your exact measurements, which then means that they are going to fit your body. And it's so important when it comes to feeling confident in the clothes you're wearing. And you know, of course, activewear, it's so fitting and body hugging that it's even more important that the clothes fit you, because you cannot have like a baggy legging or a baggy sports bra, and that's why it's so amazing that they have so many sizes. So whatever your measurements are, you're going to find your exact sizing, and it's just something I absolutely adore about Fabletics. Other than the seamless collection, my favourite leggings are Power Hold and Motion 365. These are what I like to wear when I want to be held in all the right places. They're just so body hugging and figure hugging in the best possible way. They really hold you in. There is no in between for me. I either want to be extremely comfortable or I want to feel absolutely snatched, and the Power Hold and Motion 365 will snatch you every single time. So don't forget, you can get up to 80% off absolutely everything on site, along with any 2 trousers for £24, and you can use the 2 deals together. So I'll have a link down below so you can go and shop. And thank you so much Fabletics for sponsoring today's video. Moving on to number 3. Making friends in your adult life is such a blessing, but you also have to protect your peace. Not everybody deserves access to the deepest parts of you. Be kind, loving, open, vulnerable, but get to know somebody first so you can understand if they have your best interests at heart. You know, a lot of people put on a front and they do wear a mask, and it takes a bit of time before that mask starts slipping, because, you know, we cannot keep the mask on forever. We cannot put a front on forever. People will eventually show you who they are. You know, as a person, naturally, I hate small talk. I am a yapper. I like to talk. I like to overshare. And I will tell you my deepest, darkest secrets in the first 5 minutes of meeting you. But that doesn't get you very far a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it will leave you getting burnt, you know. So keep a bit of distance between new people that you let into your life and new people you meet, you know, because if they're meant for you and they have your best interest at heart, you know, you have so much time with this person, they're not going to go anywhere, you know. But you really need to wait and see who somebody is first, because a lot of the time we haven't got a damn clue. Which leads us into number 4. Resentment is drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. Holding on to resentment, bitterness, anger towards those who have hurt you only results in you hurting yourself. It's really sad, but people who hurt you don't lay awake at night thinking about the fact that they've hurt you most of the time, you know. You're keeping yourself awake at night, you know. You're only resulting in hurting yourself. You either need to say something, confront them, or you need to make peace with it, let it go, and forgive them. Forgive them for you. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and realise that that prisoner was you. Moving on to number 5. We all have problems in our life. We all have worries, fears, insecurities, you know, and most of the time it's so much easier for our brains to focus on what's going wrong rather than what's good and what's going right. A daily practice that has really helped me master this is to keep a list in your notes app, and every single day, anytime you achieve something or something good happens, no matter how small, write it down. You will be so amazed at how many good things happen each and every single day. How many beautiful moments there are in life, you know. A lot of the time we have to retrain our brain to look for the good, you know. Our brains don't naturally look for it, so we have to force ourselves to do it. And having a little practice like this is literally game changing. I swear, it's life changing. Moving on to number 6. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. This has become my life motto in so many ways. You know, I'm an introvert, I'm a homebody at heart, so if it's not a hell yes to a plan, it's a hell no. I'm going to stay in, I'm going to do my self-care, I'm going to snuggle up, I'm going to watch a show. You know, I went through a number of years where I would spend way too much money on the likes of clothes, makeup, buying into trends, you know, have things sitting in the wardrobe with tags on because it looked good on another girl, but unfortunately that dress does not suit my body type. So if it's not a hell yes to an item of clothing or a makeup item, it's a hell no. Which brings us on to number 7, and oh, this is such a big one. Stop worrying about how others will perceive you. And there's a quote that just summarizes this perfectly, and it's so beautiful. You'll meet 100 different people who will describe you in 100 different ways. Don't dwell too much on the kind of impression you make. Remember, there are 1,000 paintings of the sun, but only one that rises and sets each day, and that sun is you, my darling. If there is one thing you can do for yourself in this lifetime, it is just accept how you will be perceived, because in one person's eyes you are going to be the most incredible, loving, kind, caring, generous human they have ever met, and in another person's eyes you are going to be the villain in their story. But neither of them matter, because it's how they're viewing you through their own life experiences. It doesn't show the entirety of your character, of your morals, or who you are as a complex, ever-changing, ever-growing, ever-evolving human being, you know. Somebody who knew you 5 years ago, they do not know you today, because you are a totally different person than you were 5 years ago, you know. If you meet somebody and you're having the worst day of your life, they're going to have a totally different opinion of you as somebody who sees you on one of the best days of your life, you know. None of it matters. You can't control any of it. So stop trying to. Stop worrying about what you're saying. Stop worrying about how you look or why you said that thing that way or why you were standing like that or oh my God. It doesn't matter, because no matter what you do, people are going to perceive you anyway, okay? Which leads us into number 8. You don't need to earn rest. Sometimes rest is the most productive thing you can do. You need to rewire your brain to seeing rest as a necessity and not something you're deserving of because you were productive. Which leads us into number 9. You're not lazy. You're in survival mode. You're burnt out. There's a lot of heavy stuff going on around you. You're hurting. Learn to show yourself compassion, okay? You're surviving. You're doing your best. There is a quote I love so much which summarizes this amazingly. Did you know butterflies rest when it rains because it damages their wings? It's okay to rest during the storms of life. You'll always fly again once it's over. You are just shielding your wings from the storm. They've not gone anywhere. Which leads us into number 10. Progress over perfection. Perfection is a self-defeating exercise. You can only fail if you don't try. If you try and you do your best, you are actually giving yourself a chance to succeed. And an example I have for this, I'll never forget it, is years ago filming what is my most viral YouTube video now. It was a shaving video. I'll never forget filming it and watching it back, and I was so unhappy with so many aspects of it because I wanted it to be perfect. I thought I could have said this thing better and I could have done that thing better, and why did I say it like that? And I was so close to scrapping it and not uploading it. I was like, this is such a crap idea, Jessica. Why do you think this is a good idea? Yada, yada, yada. I think it's got 10 million views now. You know, it was such a huge part of me growing my YouTube channel and reaching a lot of people. And had I have chosen not to post that video just because it wasn't perfect, I would have never reached that many people. I would have never grew my audience so much overnight, you know. It's just crazy when you look back at the things you were so self-critical of yourself for, what ended up being huge transformations in your life, you know, which brought so many blessings into your life when you just did the thing, just put it out there. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. Just make progress. Just keep moving forward. That's all you have to do. Which leads us into number 11. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. And this is such a good one, you know. There's going to be a lot of people in your life who will try and critique you, who will try and bring you down. And a lot of the time, these are people who don't know the first thing about you. They are people who know what you've chosen to show them, who know a very small part of you, but they don't know. Which leads us into number 12. Sometimes you have to heal from the same thing multiple times, you know. You think, I've gone to therapy, I've done the work, I've healed, right? Wrong. Some cuts are too deep to just clean once. Sometimes you have to go in multiple times, and there is no shame in returning to therapy. There is no shame in having to heal from the same trauma multiple times. Which leads us on to number 13. Appreciate your beauty now. You're never going to be as young or have the exact same beauty you have now ever again. So appreciate it now, not when it's too late. I know every single one of you probably will be able to relate to me when I say, you know when you look back at an old photo and you're like, oh, she was actually quite pretty, and then you remember how much you tear yourself apart at the time. Life is just going to continue that way unless you pull yourself up on it and you actually acknowledge the beauty in yourself right now. Like, only the other day a memory popped up on my phone of 3 years ago, and it was me zooming into the spots on my face, and I was clearly really overanalyzing myself, and I know I would have been in such a bad headspace filming, looking at my skin and being like, oh, look at the state of your skin, yada yada yada. But all I could see looking at that video now was, oh my god, Jessica, your skin complexion was so smooth. It was just so beautiful. I would do anything to have that complexion right now, because obviously now I'm a few years older. Like, I have some like fine lines in my face and stuff, but in another 20 years, them fine lines are going to be wrinkles, and I'm going to be looking back at 26-year-old me being like, girl, what were you on about fine lines? That was just your face from the years of laughter and the years of crying, the years of pain, the years of hurt. It's just, your face tells a story, you know, but one day you'll look back at you now and you'll be like, what were you on about? Why were you tearing yourself apart? Look how beautiful this was, that was, and I just wish now I had that thing. You are so beautiful, and you're only going to realize it in years to come. So start looking in the mirror and realizing it right now, because you're never going to look exactly the same ever again. We're always changing as we get older. Everything changes, you know. So another example is the other day, you know, a photo popped up on my phone, and I think it was like 19, and when I started my YouTube channel, if any of you have been with me since then, you might remember how heavy of a makeup I used to wear. And I used to wear eyelashes that literally were 10 times too big for my eyeballs. I looked like I was about to fly away at all times, and yeah, I just wear a lot of makeup. And I was looking at that photo, and what I can see in that photo now at 26, looking at 19-year-old me, is how insecure I was in my own skin, you know, how much I wanted to change and alter my appearance. But then when I saw a photo of 19-year-old me with no makeup on, I'm like, God, like, you look gorgeous there. Why were you so insecure? Like, why couldn't you have just, you know, appreciated your natural beauty? You know, you didn't need these big eyelashes. You didn't need all this makeup. Like, you know, you didn't need to change yourself like you thought you did. And there's just such a huge lesson in that. There really is. And oh, it's so sad that we often only appreciate ourselves once the moment's gone, you know, but there's something to learn there. Which leads us into number 14. See hope in all situations. Once you are here, kicking, breathing, once you're alive, there is hope. We often don't see the silver lining in something until it passes, you know. Just think of, for me personally, every single person that's ever broke my heart. It's been one of the biggest blessings that it's ever happened to me, because one person walking out of my life has made room for another person to enter my life, you know. Every friend that I ever had who walked out of my life made room for another better friend to walk into my life, you know. And we cannot see it at the time, but my goodness, when you just think over your life, sometimes the things that feel like the worst thing that could be happening in the moment turns out to be the biggest blessing in the future, you know. There is always hope. Once you're breathing, there is hope. So hold on to that, okay? Which leads us into number 15. Stop saving things for the right time. The right time is only something that exists in your head. Being alive in this moment is the right time. Oh, I cannot tell you how many things I've done this with throughout my life. Like being a little 7-year-old girl, and I used to be so obsessed with stickers and arts and crafts, but I'd always keep my favourite stickers and I'd be waiting for the right time to use them, because I didn't want to commit to putting them on one surface because I loved them so much. And then all of a sudden I was 15 and I no longer cared for stickers, and I don't even know where them stickers ended up, probably in the bottom of a bin somewhere. So I never even got to enjoy the beauty of it while I loved it, you know. Again, I remember being like 16 and I bought these glittery silver pair of Converse, and I loved them so much that I didn't ever want to wear them. So much so that I never wore them until I thought they were so ugly then when I was like 20, and I was like, why did you ever buy these, Jessica? But I was waiting for the right time, and the right time never came, so much so that I outgrew them, you know. The same way as over the last 3 years, you know, candles I bought, a new dress I bought, a notebook I bought, saving them all for the right time, you know, the right moment, and it never came. Instead of waiting for the right moment, create the right moment. This is the only moment we have, so it has to be the right one. There can be no other right moment when this is the only moment we're guaranteed. So wear that dress, burn that candle, write in that new notebook. Stop waiting. It's just sitting there collecting dust. Which leads us into number 16. Embarrassment is a mindset. Choose not to have it. Life is so much more joyful when you can learn to laugh at yourself. Like, just think of when you've seen somebody fall over. You know, if they get up and start laughing at themselves, you don't find it embarrassing. You know, you're laughing along with them. You often only see things as embarrassing when the other person is extracting the energy of, I am so embarrassed, you know. It really is all in our heads. Like, for example, I look back at my first few YouTube videos and I'm like, oh my God, they are so embarrassing. But I'm like, I wasn't embarrassed at the time. I was having the time of my life, like doing my first YouTube video, yeah, I was nervous, I was young, you know, I didn't know then what I know now, but if I let embarrassment consume me, I would have never posted my first YouTube video. I would have never done so many things in my lifetime, you know? So stop. Just learn to laugh at yourself. Nothing's that deep. Nothing is that deep. Which leads us into number 17. Forgive yourself. If you knew better, you would have done better. One thing I've learned is that growing up, growing older is just a series of looking back at previous versions of yourself and thinking, wow, she was so young, but look at how well she did with what she knew. And it's so comforting to think that out there somewhere, there's a future version of yourself looking at current you, thinking the exact same thing. You're doing your best with what you know, with what you knew at the time. We can only learn when we make mistakes. So stop being so self-critical. Just stop. Forgive yourself. Just like you forgive other people all the time. Forgive yourself. Which leads us into number 18. You are not a problem that needs to be solved. You are a fully complex, ever-changing human being. Don't make healing your entire identity because you're never going to be fully healed. We are always going to have things we need to heal from because life is always happening. Life is just never going to not happen to us. The ego is always searching for neat, definable labels to attach itself to. Make sure you define yourself by being, living, experiencing, existing. We're always going to have things to heal from, but it's not who you are. It's something that's happened to you. It's a part of your story. It's not your whole story. So make sure you learn to separate them and detach them from one another. Which leads us into number 19. Break bad habits and form good ones as soon as you can. Just how it's easier to learn things when you're younger, it's also easier to unlearn things when you're younger. I get quite frustrated at my past self, you know, for often having the mindset of, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm so young, I have so much time to sort this out. Well, honey, you're not getting any younger. Like, why couldn't you have sorted out some of your bad habits 5 years ago so I wouldn't have to be dealing with them now? You know, if you don't sort out your bad habits, they will continue. They're going to continue to carry with you throughout your life. The years will pass you by a lot quicker than you realise, you know. So just break them. Do the work. Do the hard thing. Rip the band-aid off. Your future self will thank you for it. Which leads us into number 20. Very short and sweet. Allow yourself to grieve. Just allow yourself. One of the biggest parts of grieving the loss, the death of someone is allowing yourself, and stop putting a time limit on it. There is no time limit on grieving somebody that you loved so dearly and they loved you back so dearly, okay? How special, how lucky are we to have someone who we loved so much that a lack of their presence brings on so much pain, you know? It shows that there was so much love there to begin with. So just allow yourself to grieve. Which leads us into number 21. Don't turn a season into a lifetime. Learn when to say thank you for the ride and get out of the goddamn car. Oh my goodness, you know. I can have a real problem with letting people go and saying goodbye when the time has come. But really and truly, some people are only in your life to get you from A to B, and you're only in theirs to get them from A to B, and you know, you are meant to go your separate ways then. Not everybody is a root in our tree, you know. Some people are leaves and some people are branches, you know. They're gonna fall away eventually. They were never meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to stay. And there's beauty in that, because there are people then who will come in their absence, who are meant to stay. Stop holding on to something that doesn't serve you anymore, something that doesn't bring any good to your life, that is causing you more harm than good. Let it go. Which leads us lovely into number 22. Don't let people back into your life who have used you, mistreated you, hurt you, harmed you. There is a difference between forgiving somebody but also having boundaries for yourself, you know. When somebody has used, abused and hurt you one too many times, access is revoked. Learn to have respect for yourself. How can you expect somebody else to respect you if you cannot respect yourself? Love yourself enough to not let people back in who did more harm than good. Which leads us into number 23. Don't be afraid to be a beginner. Tend to your inner child, you know. something that's so beautiful about kids and their innocence is that there's no fear to try new things. You know, when you're young, you're never afraid to be a beginner at something because it's as if everyone around you is. But as you get older, you need to realize that inner child still lives within you, you know, and everybody who is a pro or is mediocre or is terrible at something, they were a beginner at some point or another. You know, a day comes where you have to try something for the first time. You know, one of the best things I did in my adult life was picking up horse riding, and it was something I'd wanted to do for years and years, but I let the fear of being a beginner hold me back. But what I realized when I got there was that the group I was in, they were all other adult women, and they were so encouraging, you know, and you really do need to let your inner child come out. Dance, play, paint, sing, do whatever your inner child wants to do. Try something you've always wanted to try, because trust me, there is no shame in being a beginner. If you do not try, you will never know. If you enjoy something, if something can add value to your life, if something lights you up inside, you'll never know if you don't try. Which leads us into number 24. Watch what you consume and regularly check in on your relationship with different social media apps, because they can take a real toll on our mental health if we're not intentional and conscious of what we are choosing to consume and engage with. And also delete and unfollow from anything that does not serve you online. If it is not bringing value or joy, or it doesn't light up a spark inside you, get rid of it. You know, if it brings nothing but sadness and despair and bad feelings, get rid of it. Which leads us on to number 25. Don't give people your power. Do not let other people have the power to get a reaction and therefore control you. Do not react in deep emotion. Take a step back, walk away, breathe, pause, and think before you speak, because often when we react in deep emotion is when we're going to act and say things out of character, act and say things we do not mean, and act and say things that we regret. Words, actions cannot be taken back. They can only be forgiven. What we say, what comes out of our mouth matters. Watch your mouth. Watch what you say, because you cannot take it back. And there is so much power in learning to regulate your emotions and not bite back when somebody's trying to press your buttons, and it will take you so far. It is such a powerful thing to learn. Which leads us on to number 26. Everybody is winging it. You are gonna be okay. You're doing your best. We're all doing our best, you know. No matter how many plans you put in place for your life, life has a funny way of happening to us, you know, and sending us in a totally different direction. One person leaving your life, getting an opportunity you never thought you'd get, ending up in the right place at the right time. All of these things will change the trajectory of your life, and you cannot plan any of them. Life happens to all of us. We're all winging it. So stop holding yourself to such a high standard. You're gonna be okay. Okay, and if you're not okay, it's not the end. I would absolutely love to hear some life lessons you've learned the hard way down in the comments below, because we really can learn so much from one another. And I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget that you can get up to 80% off absolutely everything on site, and any 2 trousers for £24 on Fabletics. I will have a link down below. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so very much, and I cannot wait to see you all in my next video. Bye bye, friends.